Let's face it, we live in a world where many people wear masks, false smiles, empty compliments, and polite gestures, all crafted to maintain a pleasant appearance while concealing the truth beneath. If you've ever experienced this, you know how frustrating it can be. It's hard to tell if someone truly cares about you or if they're just pretending to avoid an awkward conversation. What's even worse is when you've poured your time, energy, and emotions into someone only to realize later that they never genuinely liked you. Perhaps they merely tolerated you, or worse, secretly wished for your failure. This issue goes beyond just social interactions, it's a spiritual matter too. God calls us to live in truth, which means recognizing when people are not being sincere. The Bible reminds us in 1 Corinthians 15:33, do not be misled, bad company corrupts good character. This verse serves as a powerful reminder that those around us can profoundly impact our lives. C.S. Lewis wrote in The Four Loves that affection is responsible for most of the solid and lasting happiness in our lives. But what happens when that affection is fake or insincere? Depending on who we let into our lives, we can either be uplifted or torn down. So today, let's dive deep into the signs that someone might secretly dislike you but is hiding it, and how we can respond in a way that reflects the truth of God. In a world filled with superficial connections and broken relationships, we need wisdom from the Word to help us navigate these situations. And yes, this might be uncomfortable to hear, but it's far better to face the truth now than to continue living in denial. As C.S. Lewis said in The Problem of Pain, we can ignore even pleasure, but pain insists upon being attended to. Let's walk through some common signs that someone is hiding their true feelings and how we can address these situations biblically. Sign 1, jokes that hurt, our wounds in disguise. Let's start with something most of us have experienced: jokes at our expense. We've all had that friend who loves to crack jokes, especially when the joke is on us. They pick at our quirks, our flaws, our mistakes, and laugh it off as harmless fun. They say, I'm just messing with you, or lighten up. Can't you take a joke? But let's pause here for a moment. Is it really just a joke, or is there something more going on? When I was younger, I had a friend who constantly joked about the way I spoke. It started off small, little jabs here and there. At first, I laughed along thinking it was just friendly banter. But as time went on, I noticed a pattern. The jokes were always aimed at my weaknesses, never my strengths. Every time I'd bring up a new idea or share something I was excited about, he'd have a sarcastic remark ready to go. It chipped away at my confidence. This isn't an isolated experience. Today we see it everywhere, whether it's a coworker who subtly undermines you during meetings, a family member who constantly points out your flaws, or even friends who make you the butt of every joke in social gatherings. On social media, we've normalized this kind of behavior with memes and sarcastic comments. It's become trendy to roast each other. But there's a fine line between playful teasing and emotional harm. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 18:21, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Words have immense power. C.S. Lewis warned in The Weight of Glory that there is no neutral ground in the universe. Every square inch, every split second is claimed by God and counterclaimed by Satan. When people constantly joke about your flaws, it's more than just teasing. It's a subtle way to assert control or dominance over you. And here's the hard truth: people who constantly joke about your flaws aren't doing it out of affection. They are testing the waters to see how much disrespect you will take. It's a subtle form of manipulation. This is especially common in relationships where someone feels threatened by your strengths. They will downplay your achievements, undermine your confidence, and all of it will be disguised as just a joke. This issue is especially prevalent in workplaces today. A lot of times you'll see this dynamic play out in meetings where someone will dismiss another person's idea with a joke or sarcastic comment. Instead of engaging in meaningful dialogue, they'll throw in a zinger that undermines the other person. It's a subtle way of maintaining control over the group without appearing aggressive. But here's what the Bible teaches us. Ephesians 4:29 says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. True friends, true colleagues, and true family members don't tear you down with their words, they build you up. C.S. Lewis emphasized the importance of kindness in words and actions, stating in Mere Christianity, "Do not waste time bothering whether you love your neighbor, act as if you did." If someone's humor is constantly making you question your value, it's time to set boundaries. We have to stand up for ourselves. When a joke crosses the line, it's not about being overly sensitive, it's about honoring the dignity God has given each of us. And if that means losing a few friends or creating some uncomfortable moments, so be it. Your peace and self-respect are worth far more than someone's idea of humor. Sign 2, backhanded compliments are hidden criticisms. Let's move on to another red flag: backhanded compliments. You know the type someone says, "You're actually pretty smart for someone who never went to college," or "Wow, you look nice today. I didn't expect that from you." On the surface, it seems like a compliment, but there's always that sting that makes you pause. It leaves you questioning whether they were really praising you or subtly criticizing you. This is a form of passive aggression that's rampant in today's culture. In a world where direct confrontation is often avoided, people have learned to be subtle with their negativity. Backhanded compliments are designed to make you feel smaller while allowing the person giving them to maintain a veneer of politeness. I remember a time when I was proud of a project I had completed at work. I had poured hours of effort into it, and when I presented it, a colleague said, "Wow, this is actually really good considering how inexperienced you are." That compliment stuck with me. I wasn't sure whether to feel proud of my work or to focus on the jab about my lack of experience. It left me feeling both confused and a little hurt. In our social media-driven world, backhanded compliments are all too common. You'll see them in the comments section of almost any post where someone is achieving something. "Oh wow, I didn't think you had it in you," or "You're actually doing well for someone like you." These comments are more about the person giving them than the person receiving them. They come from a place of insecurity and jealousy. James 3:16 reminds us, "For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice." People who give these backhanded compliments are often envious of your progress, your talents, or your confidence. C.S. Lewis wisely noted in The Great Divorce that hell begins with a grumbling mood, always complaining, always blaming others, and in many cases, backhanded compliments stem from that very same internal dissatisfaction. Here's the hard truth: you don't have to accept these kinds of comments. You are under no obligation to pretend a backhanded compliment is a genuine one. Instead, ask for clarification. Respond with something like, "Thanks, but what do you mean by that?" This forces the other person to confront the hidden negativity in their words. Often it makes them uncomfortable because they weren't expecting to be called out. As Christians, we are called to be encouragers. Ephesians 4:15 tells us to speak the truth in love. Our words should lift others up, not tear them down, even subtly. If someone's compliments are leaving you feeling smaller or more insecure, it's time to reevaluate the relationship. Sign number 3, the pain of being subtly excluded. Now let's talk about something that's incredibly hurtful: being excluded. Have you ever found out that a group of your friends or colleagues made plans without inviting you? Maybe you saw pictures on social media of an event you would have loved to attend but never got the invitation. When you confront them, they shrug it off with, "Oh, we thought you were busy," or "It was just a last-minute thing." Being excluded stings, but it's even worse when it's done subtly without explanation. You find yourself questioning your worth, wondering why you weren't included. It can leave you feeling like an outsider in your own circle. I remember a time when I experienced this firsthand. I had a group of friends I spent time with regularly. We would go out, have fun, and make memories. But over time, I started noticing that they would hang out without me. They made plans and forgot to invite me. When I confronted them, their excuses felt shallow. "Oh, we didn't think you'd want to come," or "It was just a small thing, no big deal." But here's the thing: these exclusions were not accidental, they were deliberate. It's one thing to be left out once or twice, it's another to be consistently excluded. Social exclusion is often a passive-aggressive way for people to distance themselves from you without having to confront you directly. We see this behavior all the time, especially in workplaces, schools, and even churches. People form cliques, and if they decide you don't fit in, they start leaving you out of plans. Sometimes they'll even do it on purpose to send a message you're not as valued as you thought. But Jesus modeled a different kind of relationship. In Luke 14:13-14, he tells us to invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the blind to our gatherings, not just those who can repay us. Jesus didn't exclude people based on their social status or perceived value. He welcomed everyone to the table. And as his followers, we are called to do the same. C.S. Lewis echoed this sentiment in The Four Loves, where he wrote, "Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, 'What, you too? I thought I was the only one.'" True friendship is inclusive, inviting others into a space of love and acceptance. If you find yourself being excluded, don't be afraid to speak up. Ask, "Why wasn't I invited?" It might be an uncomfortable conversation, but it's necessary. True friends will make room for you, not shut you out. And if they're not willing to include you, it might be time to find new relationships where you are valued and appreciated. Sign number 4, when they're only busy for you. One of the most common excuses people use when they're trying to distance themselves from you is, "I'm just so busy." How many times have you heard that from someone only to see them hanging out with other people or posting on social media about their latest outing? Being busy is the perfect cover for someone who wants to avoid spending time with you without directly confronting you. In today's fast-paced world, everyone is busy. We all have work, family, and responsibilities. But the truth is, people make time for what they care about. If someone is constantly too busy when it comes to you, it's not about their schedule, it's about their priorities. I once had a friend who would always tell me they were swamped at work and couldn't hang out, but then I'd see them on social media hanging out with other friends, going to events, or just having a good time. At first I shrugged it off, thinking they really were busy, but over time it became clear they just didn't want to make time for me. This is a hard truth to swallow, but it's something we need to face. People will always make time for what matters to them. If they are consistently unavailable when it comes to you, it's because they've chosen not to prioritize your relationship. Jesus tells us in Matthew 6:21, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." If someone treasures their time with you, they will make it a point to spend time with you. C.S. Lewis reflected on this in the Screwtape Letters, noting that the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slopes, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts. We must recognize when someone's neglect of a relationship is not sudden but a slow, steady distancing. We all have busy lives, but true friends make the effort to stay connected, even in small ways: a text, a phone call, a quick coffee meetup. These are the little things that show someone cares. If someone is only busy when it comes to you, they're sending a clear message about where you stand in their life. Don't waste your time chasing after people who aren't willing to invest in you. Your time and energy are too valuable for that. Sign number 5, avoiding physical contact, a sign of distance. Let's talk about something that might seem small but speaks volumes: physical contact. Whether it's a handshake, a hug, or even sitting close to someone, physical touch is a way we connect with others. When someone goes out of their way to avoid touching you, it's a sign that they're uncomfortable around you. I had a colleague who always seemed to flinch whenever I reached out for a handshake. At first I thought I was imagining it, but then I noticed they were perfectly fine hugging or shaking hands with others. It wasn't long before I realized that their avoidance was more than just a quirk. It was a deliberate effort to keep me at a distance. In relationships, physical touch helps build trust and connection. When someone consistently avoids even casual touch, they're sending a message that they're not comfortable with you. Romans 12:10 tells us, "Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves." If someone is avoiding physical contact, it may be time to address what's going on beneath the surface. Avoiding physical touch is often a symptom of a deeper issue. It could be that the person is holding back emotionally or doesn't feel close to you. Either way, it's a sign that something is off in the relationship and it's worth addressing. Sign number 6, when they disappear in your time of need. There's a saying that goes, "You know who your real friends are. When the going gets tough, nothing tests the strength of a relationship like a personal crisis." When you're going through something difficult, you expect your friends to be there for you. But what happens when they vanish just when you need them the most? I went through a difficult season in my life and reached out to friends I had always been there for in the past. But when I needed them, they were nowhere to be found. They had every excuse in the book, "I'm just really busy," or "I'll check in with you later," but they never did. The Bible tells us in Galatians 6:2, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." True friends support each other, especially during tough times. C.S. Lewis, in The Four Loves, emphasized the importance of loyalty in friendships, stating, "Is any pleasure on earth as great as a circle of Christian friends by a good fire?" If someone disappears when you need them, it's not just inconsiderate, it's a sign that they're not invested in the relationship. We need friends who will stand by us during the storms of life, not just the sunny days. If someone consistently fails to show up when you need support, it's time to reassess the relationship. Surround yourself with people who are there for you no matter what. Sign number 7, gossip, the ultimate betrayal. Finally, let's talk about one of the most damaging forms of hidden dislike: gossip. Gossip is like a poison that spreads quickly, destroying trust and relationships in its path. When someone you consider a friend gossips about you behind your back, it's not just hurtful, it's a betrayal. I once confided in someone I thought was a close friend about something personal. Within days, I heard my story circulating in twisted, exaggerated versions. The person I trusted had turned my vulnerability into gossip for others. Proverbs 16:28 says, "A perverse person stirs up conflict, and gossip separates close friends." Gossip is never innocent. It's a betrayal that destroys the foundation of trust in any relationship. If someone is gossiping about you, it's a clear sign that they don't respect you, no matter how friendly they act to your face. As Christians, we are called to build each other up, not tear each other down. If you discover that someone has been gossiping about you, confront them. And if they continue to betray your trust, it might be time to distance yourself from that relationship. C.S. Lewis once remarked, "The next best thing to being wise oneself is to live in a circle of those who are." As we wrap up, I want to remind you of something important. You are valuable. Your time, your energy, and your emotional investment are precious gifts, and they shouldn't be wasted on people who can't appreciate you. Jesus said in Matthew 7:6, "Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs." In other words, don't waste your time on people who don't recognize your worth. If you've seen any of these signs in your relationships: jokes that hurt, backhanded compliments, subtle exclusion, constant busyness, avoiding contact, disappearing in times of need, or gossip, don't ignore them. Address them head on, set boundaries, have tough conversations, and if necessary, walk away from relationships that aren't healthy. God desires for you to live in truth, love, and in wholesome relationships. Surround yourself with individuals who embody His love, who uplift you, and who help strengthen your faith. C.S. Lewis recognized the importance of fostering meaningful connections, writing in Mere Christianity, "Love is not an affectionate feeling, but a steady wish for the loved person's ultimate good as far as it can be obtained." Keep in mind that life is too precious to spend on relationships that deplete you rather than nurture your growth. Stand firm, speak truth with love, and embrace the peace that comes from knowing your identity in Christ. Thank you so much for watching. If this message resonated with you and speaks to what you're experiencing, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us spread God's truth to more people. Together we can inspire others to live authentically, grounded in love and faith. Stay blessed and then know that you are cherished and loved by Christ. See you in the next video.